Hi, this is Chris from Orange Coast College's Art Department, reviewing the materials needed for Visual Communication 1, Art 118. All right, let's start off first with our marker pad. So there are a lot of different manufacturers. I've got this Canson one. It's 14 by 17. This should do fine. You can try another brand, but we want to stick to this size. So we want to be able to work on 14 by 17. First of all, the thing that we're going to use the most with our marker pad are markers. We need to get a set of gray markers. This here is from Dick Blick. There's many marker manufacturers. These are just fine for our purposes. This comes with a tray, and we've got all our markers from lightest to darkest in 10% increments. This has, I believe, a chisel tip and a fine point tip. So here's our fine. Here's our chisel tip. Other manufacturers you can find at this level are Barrel Prisma colors. And at a higher level, you can get Copic markers. These should do for our class. You can get the kind that you want. Speaking of Prisma colors, here's some examples of the Prisma markers. Same idea, fine point one end, fat on the other. We should get probably 2 sets of accent colors. So I would call this an accent of blue and this of orange. And then sort of 2 values. The idea is that we can have a light and a dark version so we can show sort of highlight and shade. Same here with some orange. You can pick the hues that you want, but we want to get them at least in a set of 2, maybe in a set of 3. We could definitely go darker on that blue and have a third, and that way you can blend them. So these are Prisma color markers, and I consider these on the same level as the Blick Studio markers. So choose your brand. You can do whatever you'd like with them. Next up, let's look at some technical pens. So many of you guys are probably familiar with microns. These are popular, easy to find. You can also find Copics as well as other technical pens. The idea here is that there's a specified width with a technical pen versus a variable width. So this 03 should always give me that line. Let's bump it up and go 08 so you can see by contrast. And let's look for the 005. This is usually the thinnest. What I'm looking for is that you have 5 different widths from 005, which is this thinnest one, to a 1. You can pick the brand that you want. So we want to have some of these technical pens. And then we want to find some variable tip pens. And I consider those, I call them conical tips. This is a Pentel sign pen, I believe. And I can do, depending how I hold it and depending how much pressure, I can have variable weights on that. Other ones that you probably know of, Sharpies. That guy's a little dry. Let's see about this guy. But this is also a conical tip. You can get razor points. You can get whatever you prefer. But let's just try some things out. If you have some favorites, go ahead and use them or explore at the art store, whichever ones you want. Also know that the fine point on the markers. So here is a Prisma with a brush tip, but it's also got the fine point. And this is about equivalent to a dull Sharpie. So you've already got one of these in your set of gray pens. Actually, you probably have multiples of those. All right, next up, pencils. So we want to get a combination of white and black and red and blue. So this is Prismacolor normal, and this is black. We definitely want to have one of these. They have really nice shading. So the Prismacolor normal has a nice soft lead. You can get really even shading with it. This is pretty great. So I would suggest getting your white and black in the Prismacolor Premier, and then your blue and your red in Prismacolor Color Erase. The Color Erase has an eraser. These are a little higher leads. And what we want to do is be able to use red and blue to kind of do setup lines and be able to tell the difference easily, and then later draw over them. But having a red and blue, I like carmine red and indigo blue for those. And their erasers rock. These are some of the best erasers, so they're just nice to have around. So good erasers. Leads are a little harder, so that means they break a little less. They keep a finer tip. But for shading, the Prismacolor Premiers are nice. You're going to break the tips a lot, but they really lay down really nice values. Want to have a plastic eraser? I don't have one with me, but it looks like this. You can get one of those easily at most art supply stores. And then the last bit of traditional media is medium gray Canson Mi Tientes pastel paper. You don't need it right away, so hold off on it. I'll show you in class when we get ready to use it. I've got a bunch at OCC, at least in the spring of 2021. We may be able to use that. But also it comes in big sheets, and so if you buy it right away and keep it for 2 months before using it, you'll probably damage it. So that's it for the traditional media. And then lastly, we're going to use iPads for some digital media. You can use your own Photoshop on your own tablets, but I'm not going to teach how to use Photoshop in this class. I want to use iPads with Procreate because it's an easy learn. This is a iPad Pro 13-inch in a case. Comes, or it doesn't come with, but also you want to buy a pencil. This is an Apple Pencil. It snaps on and charges right there. Open it up, use your pencil, launch Procreate, and we can do a lot of what we're doing in traditional media digitally as well. And so OCC has these for you to check out for the semester if we're teaching remotely, or you can use it off the cart if we're teaching in the classroom. So you don't have to worry about buying one. You can use the ones from OCC. But again, if you have your own, you're welcome to use that. These are the nicest and the latest, so you're welcome to use these. And if you already know Photoshop well and you don't need any additional instruction on how to use Photoshop, you can go ahead and use your existing setup. Doesn't matter to me as long as you can do what we're trying to do. All right, there's our materials. Go out and get them and look for the next assignment where we are going to experiment with the materials. So good luck. Have fun shopping.